Good evening, everyone. Welcome to day 644, 11/29/2023, November the 29th. It's already November the 30th there in Ukraine, 9:01 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, completely live, 4:01 a.m. in Ukraine. So, welcome to you guys. So much to cover tonight. I've got some video that's going to touch your heart, but also show you some reality. Going to be very, very good. Let me give some hellos here. Jeffrey Burnett, one of our moderators. Thank you, sir, for being here. Linda Cassio, King Raccoon. Thank you, sir, for being here. And shout out to you, buddy. You're the one that made it happen for that connection with Jonathan. Much appreciated. If you guys missed it, yesterday I did a co-stream with ATP Geopolitical. His name is Jonathan. He's out of the UK. Brilliant man. And we've been talking today. We're going to be doing quite a bit more of this. And yes, I invited him to Ukraine. So we'll see what happens. Rick Berry, Slava Ukraina. Geroim Slava, я скажу. Nate, welcome to your brother from out there in California. Don Gentilini, as always, welcome to you, sir. Yeah, it's crazy. The world looks at Ukraine one way, looks at Israel another way, and other nations as well. Venezuela and Guyana on the edge of war. Africa's messed up. Speaking of Africa, I'm going to have an African in studio with me Friday night. And he's going to talk about the influence of Russia and China inside Africa. You do not want to miss that. Chuck Pinkham, yes, sir, buddy. You've been here from the beginning, and you're going to be here till the end. Much appreciated. My friend in San Francisco, Kashayar Naragi. Welcome to you, my friend Ronnie Vranken over there in Belgium. The memory's working good tonight. Andrea Schoaf, Lynn Harold Fireball down there in Virginia. Angie Kuhn, blessings to you. Texas in the house tonight. It's going to be a really, really good night. So thank you guys for being here. Yes, tonight, full Zelensky sweatshirt right there. You can't get those. Not this one. This is the real deal. And this hat's my travel hat, but the hat back up there, that patch, that one's right from the front exchange between a soldier and I. So I leave that one up there. I take that one with me to Ukraine. So that one's special. They all are special. So thank you for being here. Thank you for continuing to like, comment, share, do all those things. We're growing and we will continue to grow, continue to share the truth. And I'm going to be honest with you. Once we get inside Ukraine here in another month and we're going to be streaming nightly, we're going to do our best to share as much truth as possible and to inform the world of what really is happening. So let's look at the current air raid alert map right now. I can tell you for sure drones are flying over the Kyiv region. Air defense is going off right now. Zaporizhia. So the air alarm was over Kherson because Russia put a couple of airplanes in the air. It was not a MiG. So they put the air alert on Kherson. Now that is flipped over to Zaporizhia, but the air alerts we're seeing in Kyiv, there, Zaporizhia just left right in front of your eyes. So they've landed the plane. They put it up. It was just 15, 20 minutes. But Kyiv, Zhytomyr, and Vinnytsia. In fact, I added an extension, guys. Look at this. I can draw on the website now. Now that's nice. That's going to be a game changer for us, as I like to share maps and show things to you. So Kyiv, Vinnytsia, and Zhytomyr under air alarm right now. We'll check back. If I forget, you guys remind me in the chat, and we'll check it when we're rolling out. So let's jump right to it. Now, yesterday, over the last 24 hours or so, it was Khmelnytskyi was the place of attack. So, map lower right, you see the Khmelnytskyi region. You see the red dot that represents the city of Khmelnytskyi. That is our home city, that's Zhenya's home city. That is where we base all of our work out of. And we make that loop as we talk about. Last night, 21 Shaheeds were flying. They all went to Khmelnytskyi region. They were all taken out of the air by air defense. There was also three KH-59s or X-59s missiles that were fired at the Khmelnytskyi region. 2 out of 3 were taken out. So why Khmelnytskyi? We've talked about this a little bit. I'm gonna go back to let's go to Google Earth here for a second, and I'll explain it to you. This is the Khmelnytskyi region right here. I'm zoomed in for you guys, and let's just leave it at this. A lot of supply that is coming in from the West is working its way through Khmelnytskyi. There's quite a few storages located all around Khmelnytskyi. Additionally, last night, here's the city of Khmelnytskyi here. You go up the road 45 minutes and you come to Starokonstantinov, and there were quite a few drones flying over to Starokonstantinov. And the reason for that is this is one of Ukraine's major air bases. I'm not giving any information away. Russia knows it much more than we know. But you can see here, you can see the amount of planes that are typical. This is a major air base for Khmelnytskyi. So that is the reason that Khmelnytskyi was under such serious attack last night. But overall, the defense worked really, really well. So we're thankful for that, because in that region, we have a ton of friends and family. So that's good. Secondly, Avdiivka. I'm getting ready to show you guys some video out of Avdiivka that is actually from Russian forces. I'm going to show you a piece of video. Good morning, my friend Malcolm Beals. What's up, Skeghead, down there in Australia? Folks, Avdiivka's a problem, and becoming a larger problem. Over the last 36 hours, 6 different attacks are simultaneously happening on Avdiivka. So you have an attack from the south coming up toward the village of Severer, which is the red arrow on the left. You also have 3 attacks coming in from the Donetsk side. You have 2 attacks, and these are the ones we need to pay the most attention to. Right at the top of the page, in the blue there, this region is an area is called Koksokin. Koksokin. You see the first 3 letters where it says coke? Okay, so the blue outline for you guys is the coke plant. And if you look at the city of Avdiivka, it's very long and narrow. But do you realize that 1/3 of that city is the coke plant? It's that big. So Russia is actually, they've crossed into the coke plant on the very north. They've taken some positions there. Ukraine has had to pull back to some more defensive positions. So, very similar to what we saw at Azovstal in Mariupol, this coke plant, Russia is making a move on it. Now, on the upper right, you see that group of people there, the number 15-20 and a Russian flag. Why? Because the tactic that Russia has been using over the last 48 hours is sending out groups of 15 to 20 soldiers and trying to eliminate whatever Ukrainian positions they can. It doesn't matter if these guys are eliminated. They're lambs led to the slaughter. And this has become quite a challenge for Ukraine, because these groups are moving through this city where there's a lot of cover, especially up on that north side of the coke plant. So Avdiivka's a problem. Now, with that said, I'm going to share some video with you now in regard to Avdiivka. And Rick Barry, you are 100% correct. This is Soviet tactical doctrine. Closing the jaws on the flanks. Doesn't matter how many they lose. They want to show the motherland, the homeland, that they have taken Avdiivka. Now, the video I'm going to show you, I'm going to tell you that I'm going to stop it. So all my veterans in here, all of you guys that have military experience, don't worry. I'm going to stop it, because if I show this entire video, I would be off the air instantly, I would imagine. Here's the deal. This is a Russian soldier walking through the Russian positions that have been destroyed by Ukraine, but Russia has moved beyond these positions, and there was a very high cost that they paid to take these positions on the outskirts of Avdiivka. This is pushing in toward the coke plant. This is on that side. I received this video from Russia. There's no markings on it. This is the real video. I'm going to let this guy walk for a few meters. You're going to see some destroyed equipment, some destroyed troop carriers, tanks, have the Z or the V markings on them. And then when I stop the video, it's calculated, because from that moment forward, for the next 2 minutes of that video, there are so many dead Russian soldiers, it's indescribable. Dozens and dozens. It is the price. And this video is going back to Russia to show the price. This is how they're going to spin it. The price that Russia is fighting and paying for taking and defending this land. So here it is. This is Avdiivka. The other thing is here, you're going to be able to see what Avdiivka looks like. Look at the trees. It's apocalyptic. Here you go. Hear the artillery. Now I'm going to stop it here and cut back to this, because from there forward, it's unbelievable. But that's what the outside, the outskirts coming in toward the coke plant of Avdiivka look like. I can tell you right now, prior to this war, all of those fragments of trees you see by the road, they would have been tall, mature trees. They're gone. I mean, the amount of destruction that has happened in Ukraine is beyond imagination. Now, I was asked in the stream a couple of nights ago, what do I know about prisoner exchanges, and are they happening? So I have the answer for you. Whoever asked that question, I can't remember, but I saw it in the chat. 0. 0, 0, 0. So the last prisoner exchange that took place actually took place on August the 7th. And yes, we're at November the 29th. The last official prisoner exchange between Russia and Ukraine is August the 7th. Ukraine has been attempting to do prisoner exchanges, but it is Russia that is blocking it. You see the little propaganda marker I have there under the 0. There is a reason for this. Russia right now is trying to spin it not only in Russia, but also in Ukraine, and more importantly, Ukraine, that the regime in Kyiv is evil because they will not exchange prisoners with us. And that's a complete bald-faced lie. Ukraine is trying to do prisoner exchanges. Russia is blocking it. Russia is not, but they are using it as a tool and as a propaganda piece against Ukraine. The messages go out on social media. They go out on Telegram. They go out on vkontaktochka.ru. They go out on all these things that says, look, your government doesn't care about you. We've told you they are an evil regime. They will not even do prisoner exchanges with us. That is the message. That is a fantastic point, my friend. Boom. I've got to find that. Miniature Dachshund, welcome from Ohio, new friend. This great comment here, Roman. Russia also doesn't want any soldiers home who tell the stories. Sir, that's spot on. You're exactly right. So it's multifold, and that's what's happening. So when you guys put questions in here, I do try to find out the answer. And that's the answer on that one. Polish border is still blocked. I know that maybe on your news, you have seen that Poland, the government has come up with a solution or a potential solution. I will explain that to you. Very simple. So let me just tell you tonight, the Polish border is still blocked. However, Poland, this is from theirs, and no, I cannot read that. That's in Polish, but I do know what it says. It says Poland has opened the dialogue, their Ministry of Commerce opened the dialogue with the truckers that are blocking it, and they have reached a successful moment where the truckers will not block the other 2 border crossings, but they will maintain their blockade at the 4. Because the truckers were going to block the other 2 crossings as well. That would have been all 6. But Poland's coming out cheering that we're going to have 2 open, 4 still blocked. I'm sitting here going, really? That's the best you can do? And then you want to take glory that you can't move truckers out of the way? But you can persuade them not to block the other 2. In addition to that, the truckers have restated that their blockade will continue through January the 3rd at a minimum. So we'll see. Guy on the right, lots of question marks. I have lots of question marks on that. I don't really understand it. Now, I'm going to give you some video tonight. Let me make sure I'm at the right place here. And I am. How many of you want to know tonight the inside story of what? You're right, brother. Russia. No question. They're behind it. Or at least involved in it completely. Now, you may ask yourself a question tonight. What is it like on the border there? What is it like for a trucker sitting there for days and days and days not moving? Tonight, I've got a piece, 90 seconds or so. I voiced it over for you, and you're going to hear the story directly from a truck driver. Here it is.
Volunteers brought us soups, bread and buns, and we still have food. We bought it in Poland. because we knew that such a situation was awaiting us. So in terms of food, we're not suffering yet, but the living conditions are very difficult. We have a gas cylinder, we heat food, and we can cook here. How long have you been standing in line? This is my 10th day. Wow, we're standing here now. I don't even know how many kilometers to the border. It's 15 kilometers. How far from here to your truck? About a kilometer and a half. I went to the store. This is what we have, and that's it. They bring some food here once a day, but it's not much. Toilets, well, they were clean yesterday. Today, I don't know. And to shower up is not real. There's only one gas station with a shower here, and then 15 kilometers to the border. There's no shower anywhere else. No pharmacies anywhere. The first pharmacy is in Darusk. That's it. And if you get sick, well then, that's your problem.
So, that's as inside as you can get. Yes, they have had now 2 deaths. There was one early on about the 6th day, and now they've had 2 deaths at the border crossing. And did you catch what the guy said? He says, "I'm 15 kilometers from the border." For those of you that are on the mile system, 7 miles. 7 miles of those trucks lined up. Just think about it. Now, do not mess with Ukraine, because the Ukrainians now, I had a freeze. The Ukrainians now are doing their own blockade. I'm going to show this to you. So, 2 villages on the Polish side of the border, Ukrainian truck drivers who were coming to the border to come back into Ukraine, diverted to 2 towns and blockaded the towns. I mean, this is like 4-year-olds between Poland and Ukraine on this right now. 4-year-olds in the middle of a war that can determine the future of our planet. And yes, it's that important. This is what Ukraine's doing. And I don't blame them, but they didn't block traffic in 2 towns. Here it is. So this is in Poland, and the Ukrainians just pulled their trucks in and blocked the roads and won't let anybody go. Police, the security out there, hey, I don't blame them. Make a statement. I mean, if you can't, listen, I know that borders are an issue. They're issue here in the United States. They're an issue in Finland right now. They're an issue in Ukraine, the border between Ukraine and Russia. They're an issue in the Middle East. Borders are issues. They're an issue tonight between Venezuela and Guyana. But if you can't maintain control of your border during a wartime, when it's the key place of transit, because some trucking companies block it, there's something wrong. Additionally, I saw somebody's comment the other night that says, well, why don't we just use trains? So, you may or may not know this, but the gauge of rails that begin at the Polish border are on the European standard. The gauge of rails from Ukraine and then moving into the nations that were the former Soviet Union are a different size and different gauge. So when trains come, they do have undercarriage modifications that they can use, but it's really not an option to use the rails because of the complexities and the difference of the rail gauges. So they just don't fit. So those borders are a problem. Big time. And that's the wrong button. So Finland, I told you guys a week ago, blocked 4 out of their 5 border crossings between Russia and Finland. Now they have blocked all 5. They are doing it now until December the 13th, and then they will review again. But think about this, guys. The border between Finland and Russia is now closed. all 5 checkpoints. They had closed 4, now all 5. Interesting. Hungary keeping their same story going. Hungary will never supply weapons to Ukraine, and this is not Orban this time. This is the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. His name is Peter Siarto. And Peter says Hungary will never supply weapons to Ukraine. That, listen to this quote, that will only delay the inevitable. You guys know as well as I do, that means that Hungary's position, and it may not be all Hungarians. I have a lot of Hungarian friends that are very pro-Ukraine and hate how their government is handling this and their appearance on the global stage. Additionally, if you guys remember when I was in DC, there were 2 Hungarian representatives there from the Hungarian government that are very pro-Ukraine and struggling to do what they can to help. They were in those meetings in Washington, D.C. It's only going to delay the inevitable. That's their viewpoint, that no matter what happens, Russia's going to win this war, but we stand against that. So we'll see what happens in regard to Hungary. But for those of you who think it's just Orban, it's not. They've got a unique thing going on in Hungary. Now, you see pictures here with a candle in it. Tonight, I'm so pumped. This comes to basically the title of a thumbnail tonight, which is Ukrainian soldiers say thank you to the world. They're saying thank you to you. So I'm going to play 2 videos now. The first one I'm going to play is actually a video piece done by DW out of Germany. It's about 30 seconds, just showing what Ukrainian soldiers are having to go through because winter is now on the front and very active, as we all know. But there's something I want you to pay attention to. There's a reason I'm using a candle here in this picture. You guys may or may not know this, but we do not only supply humanitarian aid, try to help rescue people, supply military aid, stuff that we transport, food, medical, all of that stuff that you guys that are part of this streaming community have purchased, and we've hand delivered them, and we'll do it again here very soon. But we also have our team in Kropyvnytskyi that manufactures things. There's 2 things that we manufacture with our group. The first thing is we manufacture food jars. It's basically like a Brunswick stew with rice. It goes in a glass jar. We have a guy that makes them all, preps them all. We get all the things. I mean, we've bought cookers, boilers, and we deliver those food dishes. It's like a glass jar of Brunswick stew. We also manufacture energy bars. You'll see that in a video in a second. But there's a third thing that we do. And we manufacture and deliver trench candles. These are basically candles in a bean can. You just think about a can of beans, take the beans out, put a candle in it. But these candles, they burn a little hot so that they can generate some heat for soldiers. So the first video you're going to see is DW, but you're going to see the trench candle. And then I'm going to come back and Zhenya is going to be showing you some soldiers saying thank you. So first one, here's the candle.
The snowstorm that hit Ukraine on Saturday made things very difficult for its soldiers. They have to deal with biting winds, freezing temperatures, flooded trenches. Sticky mud is the worst. They have to chop frozen soil to dig new positions with ice axes. But they keep calm, and they warm themselves up with the do-it-yourself candle.
There's the candle right there. You could see it right at the end in that can burning. So that video could have very well been our candles because we dump a lot of those to the front lines. Now, This is the best message I can tell the world tonight. Directly from the front lines. I did not voice this next one over because I didn't want to mess up the atmosphere. Zhenya did put some English subtitles on it, but if you're listening and driving or you're at work, here's what they're saying. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. We will win the war because of 50% of the work of the military and 50% of the work of volunteers. And guys, if you're here and a part of this community, you do not have to be on the front with us to be a volunteer. You're volunteering by supporting, sharing, commenting, liking, donating, giving, all the things that we do together. We're all volunteers. And this is one powerful little piece here. This is Zhenya. These are the soldiers we directly know and support. And they're saying thank you.
Що не волонтери, це наша Україна. Волонтери тримають Україну.
Спасибо. Дякую.
Дякую.
Допомагає.
Дуже вдячні вам. Здоров'я вам.
Дякую. Дякую всім, хто участвує. Як батончик?
Обалдеть. Обцілувати всіх дівчат і їхні руки. За вкусні батончики. Дякую вам за вашу роботу.
Дякуємо за допомогу, за все велике. Дякую.
Хлопці, дуже вам дякую за вашу допомогу, тому що саме завдяки вам і таким, як ви, волонтерам, ми зможемо виграти цю війну. Ми будемо боротися і боронити нашу країну, але без вас це неможливо. Дуже вам дякуємо за підтримку. Слава Україні!
Героям слава! Раз, і там десь.
Вам большое спасибо, хлопці. Ну, що я можу сказати? 50% це ваша победа. Ну, 50% наша. Це буде Україна.
Буде легше їздити, то що...
Велика подяка всім за турботу, за участь. Дуже допомагає нам вночі, нашим водіям. Да, тепер вони будуть цілі і цілі колеса.
Рятує життя.
Быстріше.
Дівчата і хлопці, щоб не питали, смаколики теж щось дали. Так, все давали. Дуже дякую.
How about that, guys? So tonight, from the front to all of you, thank you. Now, unless you're a Russian or Ukrainian speaker, you would not know this, but I'm going to tell you, 70% of that, guys were speaking Ukrainian. 30% of that, they are speaking Russian. 30% of that, I understood perfectly. They are on the same team, same family. We try to share the truth with you. Did you see another soldier slap him for speaking Russian? And you may not have known when, but I'm telling you, 70% Ukrainian, 30% was in Russian. No. The message was thank you. And the guy who said, most importantly, all will be Ukraine. In fact, I'm going to show it to you. I think right here. It's the guy at the back of the van with that we gave the tires to.
Слава. Раз,
here.
і там десь.
Вам большое спасибо,
That's
хлопці.
pure Russian.
Ну,
Big
що я
thank
можу
you.
сказати?
So what can I say about
50%
this?
це ваша
50%.
победа.
It's your
Ну,
victory.
50% наша.
50%
Це буде
ours.
Україна.
Listen to it right there. In Russian, he said, everything will be Ukraine. It's the greatest piece of truth I can share with you tonight. Roman Stingler want to, I need to jump on this one here. Roman, night vision for cars. We have guys manufacturing them, our hacker buddies, and putting those pieces together. We do deliver those. We have our own as well. If you would like to help for that, go to my website, send an email. Yes, and the QR code is a fantastic idea. But go there and send me a message. We also have a link to giving in the description of every video. That's all, every penny plus. goes. So, but QR code, good idea. I think I'll get our communications girl to help with that because I don't even know how to make a QR code. I can run all of this, but I can't make a QR code. So I'll get some help on that. It's a great idea. So thank you. All right, guys, that was those guys saying thank you, and we say thank you. Now, I want to look at a couple last things for tonight. First of all, Vladimir Putin did approve the Russian defense budget for 2024, 10.8 trillion rubles. You may ask, well, I don't understand how much that is. Well, I will explain it to you this way. It's $122 billion. It is a massive increase. 2023, it was 6.8 trillion rubles. Now 10.8, basically a 40% increase. But the overall expenditures, not only in the budget, but also in infrastructure, 70% increase. Why? Because Russia is absolutely moving and already on a wartime economy and a wartime infrastructure. They're the ones running factories 24 hours. Yes, Ukraine is too, but Ukraine needs more help. We need, as Sir Richard said, European factories and American factories running 24/7. It's a good thing for everybody, and we can win the war in Ukraine. So that is a fact. I have this I want to show you here. Very interesting. This is 2022 numbers. Rick, I see your question. I'll get there in a second. 15 countries with the highest military expenditure in 2022. You say, well, why don't you give us 2023? I tried, but 2023 isn't over yet. So I don't have the numbers, nor does anybody else. But for 2022, this is how nations spent money. U.S., 877 billion. China, 292. Then you come to Russia at 86. They're moving now up to $122 billion. And some of these nations are surprising in their defense expenditures, military. India, Saudi Arabia, UK, Germany, France, South Korea, Japan, Ukraine, way down there. That was 2022, and they were in war. Italy, Australia, Canada, and Israel at 23.4. It's crazy, but I can tell you it doesn't take rocket science to understand Russia's putting a lot of money into their military right now. Greg, any idea how much money has been raised to date? So I can tell you right now that with everything that we've done, we're pushing $250,000 of aid that have come through our church, where we base our nonprofit work out of, and through our YouTube website and all of you guys from all around the world. Folks, that's a lot of money. So we're very excited about that. I remember at the very beginning, we set a goal for $10,000 to raise for Ukraine. Then it went to 20, then it went to 50, then it went to 100, then it went to 150, and it just keeps going because you guys all around the world are awesome. It's more than just dollars that have been given. You know, you guys have bought so much stuff and shipped it to me, and I've taken it to Ukraine. You remember last trip, there was 2 full pallets that we shipped over, and I picked them up, and we hand delivered everything you guys bought and showed you. So now I'm going to translate this for you. This is what Ukraine is. Let me put it in simple English. This is what Ukraine is counting on for 2024. This is how they've kind of broken it down. There's actually one long document, but I broke it in half so I could blow it up for you a little bit. Those of you watching on mobile, this is in billions of dollars. I know, well, you guys can't read the letters, but if on the left, if you see the green and then you see the blue, and then right above that, you see an M, a goofy letter, a P, a goofy letter. So that's an M, an L, an R, and a D. Milliard. But that actually translates not million. Milliard is billion. I know it's goofy, but it's right. So U.S. looking 61 billion projection for military aid help. Germany, 8 billion euros. Great Britain, 2.7 billion euros. Netherlands, 2.5 billion. Canada, 800 million. Norway, 600 million. Denmark, $500 million, 500 million. They are expecting 5 billion from the EU. Financial help. This comes in on the governmental side, humanitarian side, infrastructure side, 11.8 billion from US. We're looking at $500 million from Great Britain. And then South Korea and Japan have committed for next year, as well as the EU and other nations. So this is where we're at. This is the numbers. That's the real document right there. We'll see what happens. I can tell you right now, as I was discussing with Jonathan yesterday, December the 4th will be the earliest possible that the United States will be voting on the next round of aid for Ukraine. But most guys here are saying it could happen December 4th, but most are saying it's not going to happen. There's too much disagreement right now. And it's most likely that it will not even be voted on until after the Christmas and New Year break. So we'll see. It's one of those things we can't predict. We just have to wait till it unfolds. Dmitry Kuleba today in Europe making bold statements. And Charles Michel, he's the head of the EU Council, made bold statements. Very interesting. This is okay. So the EU promised 1,155 millimeter shells for Ukrainian artillery. To this point, they have given, of that promised 1,300,000. So they have only delivered 30% out of the million. 700,000 more is still promised to come. Now, Kuleba spoke about that directly and says, guys, you made a promise to us and we're counting on that promise. We need that artillery. We need those shells. I told you guys, it might have been on Jonathan's stream. I was talking about some of the shells. It might have been Wednesday night or Monday night. I don't know. So much stuff going on. I have personally watched Ukraine and talked to soldiers who have 155 millimeter shells made in Pakistan. They're Pakistani. They don't even fit right. Only a couple will actually fire out of a batch. This is what they have. Nobody believes this, but I'm telling you it's the truth. 300,000 have been delivered from the EU, which will be good stuff. 700,000 more to come. But Charles Michel said you're not going to see it until 2024. Right now, as Sir Richard said, our shelves are low too. So there's a lot of manufacturing that needs to take place. The world needs to adjust its economy for this war. Now, I've got Kuleba here. I'm going to play you two clips now that are unbelievably interesting. First one, thank you, Nate. I see that. First of all, Dmitry Kuleba standing there with Jens Stoltenberg, NATO meeting today, talking about how that Ukraine is actually doing the work of NATO. Now, I also have a video from Dmitry Peskov. You may be here tonight and you go, okay, remind me who Dmitry Peskov is. Let's see here. Dmitry Peskov is the Kremlin spokesperson. So this is one of Putin's mouthpieces. So you're going to hear Kuleba talk. I voiced it over. No. He's speaking in English. I voiced over Peskov. Here we go. Kuleba in English. Just listen to this.
It will not be an exaggeration to say that defending Europe without Ukraine is a futile task. You cannot do it simply for one simple reason, because we currently have the strongest and the most battle-hardened army in Europe. We are increasing our interoperability with NATO. We are pretty much becoming de facto NATO army in terms of our technical capacity management approaches and principles of running an army. Today we will sit down with foreign ministers for the first time, as you once mentioned, as equals in a NATO-Ukraine Council.
We are pretty much the de facto NATO army. I can remember early on in the war, and I think it was Malcolm Beals, or it was one of our Brit viewers from early on. We're talking about NATO, and he threw in the chat, yeah, NATO stands for no army to offer. And then you hear Kuleba today saying, we're the de facto NATO army. Okay, so you've got that in your mind. That's Kuleba, the foreign minister of Ukraine, there at the meetings in Europe. And he's standing beside Jens Stoltenberg, NATO. What does Peskov say?
The Czech president said that Russia is the main enemy, the main adversary, and that European countries need to prepare for a conflict of high military intensity. Well, we've heard a lot of hysterical statements from Prague over the past year or several years, and such hysterical sentiments do not color the Czech leadership. Well, that's the generation of politicians in power over there now. This is their misfortune and not ours. Russia's not a threat to Europe. Europe is a threat to Russia. And Europe is being controlled by the United States. I mean the EU. They are the ones who are involved in NATO. It's moving all of its military might to our borders. These are facts that cannot be disputed. It's obvious. And this is what poses a threat to us. This is what makes us do what we are doing right now.
So there you have it. You have Kuleba saying, we are de facto NATO. We're now sitting down as equals. And you have Peskov saying, it's obvious. NATO is building up on our borders. That is why we're doing what we're doing. And he's referring directly there to the war in Ukraine. So remember, if Peskov is speaking, Vladimir Putin is speaking. It's his mouthpiece. It's a mess. Malcolm, you're right. Give them all of NATO's weapons. Well, they're not afraid. That's for sure. Ronnie, you got a good point. It's agreed, buddy. Just need to go take care of this and be done with it. I think Ronnie's got a good point here. And this coincides to what Sir Richard said. And we're just not understanding the depth of this and the necessity that the world needs to change quickly to a military. And it's sad to say this in 2023, moving into 2024, but to a military economy, military stance, and we need to stand for what's right. This is our opportunity. It's spot on. Speaking of that, about 1 month ago, I showed you guys the train depot there in North Korea and showed you the map and explained to you that that depot there goes only to Russia. And it was loaded with shipping containers. And all intelligence was saying it was military. Well, it's a fact. It's a military. Reuters, they're 30 days behind us, but that's okay. 30 days. Reuters reported today that 2,000 containers are confirmed shipped via rail from North Korea to Russia. We knew it a month ago, but it is kind of nice to hear somebody else say it as well. Not that I count on Reuters for confirmation. I count on my guys for confirmation. And we already knew this, as you guys knew it. North Korea is supplying Russia very intently. And I know you may say, okay, listen, Rocket Boy can't even get a rocket 100 kilometers out to sea. Folks, that doesn't matter. He's not sending rockets to Russia. He's sending S-300s. He's sending 155 millimeter shells. He's sending Soviet old stockpiled mess, but it's still lethal and it's massive quantities. Well, some are misfiring. Great. Ukraine is misfiring Pakistani shells. It's the way it is. But the quantity, they're receiving weapons from North Korea. They're receiving weapons from Iran. They're manufacturing weapons. Do you guys know how many weapons were even stored in Belarus? That, of course, they have full access to. Belarus is proxy by allowing Russia to do on their sovereign territory what they're doing. And the EU has sent 300,000 out of the promised 1 million. It's tough. It's tough. Now, I struggled with this. Mitch Ashdown, welcome to you, sir. Quickly. Malcolm Bills, our Brit, we're holding back with the longer range weapons. Yes, in fact, Zelensky was talking about that today on his evening address. Zelensky today spent the entire day in the Odessa region doing what a good president does, being the commander-in-chief, leading, and he did a great job encouraging. It's really tough in Odessa right now, especially after the storm, which was, they call it a 100-year storm. It was brutal. A lot of infrastructure down. They're getting it repaired quick as they can. And Odessa it's tough. It's in the bullseye. It's in the crosshairs for Russia. Even Kadyrov was talking about Odessa today. It was just a good time for Zelensky to be there. So I kind of struggled with this right here because I wasn't sure about these numbers, to be quite honest. So I sent this to some guys, and I know it's in Ukrainian, but I'll translate it for you. I found it hard to believe that, for example, on the left, you see the red column there, and that is from February of 2022, at the beginning of the war, beginning of this phase of the war. 1,060 Russian soldiers were dying per day. And I struggled to believe that, but now I don't, especially with a lot of the video I've seen. They're sending these guys to their death. And, you know, you'll never see Ukrainian numbers about this, but Ukraine is losing a lot of soldiers as well. A lot. I've been in the graveyards. I've been to the funerals. And you can go by one military graveyard in the city and there's hundreds of flags flying of guys that have given their lives for their nation. It's terrible. But this. So in February of 2022, Russia was losing 1,060 soldiers per day. And then it diminishes. From March, April, May, June, July, August, September, 300s, 200s, 169 is the lowest number. Soldiers lost a day. Then you see the second grouping there with 373 and 411, and what that says is the Battle of Kharkiv. They were losing that many soldiers a day, 373 and 411. And then after that, it's the Battle of Kherson. That would be November 2022, 569 soldiers a day. You then move over a couple of months, and it comes to the assault on Bakhmut, Soledar, and Vuhledar. And they were losing 695, 776, 778 a day. Then it comes down, and then you see 681 there, and that is translated, it says the counterattack of Ukraine. When they began the counterattack, 681. Then it drops down into the fives, but now we're at 915 for the month of November per day, and that is the active Russian action against Avdiivka. Now, I stopped that video for you, but I believe it. I believe it. I struggled to believe these numbers at the beginning. I tell you the truth, because a lot of times, Ukraine doesn't want to share the amount of loss that they're having, but Zhenya will, and I will. They're losing a lot of people. Not as many as Russia. That's a fact. But they're losing a lot. And Russia's losing a lot. It is possible Russia has lost upwards of 300,000 people, troops in this war so far. It's possible up to those numbers. I won't throw out a Ukrainian number, but it's six figures. It's six figures. And it's very sad. So that's the updated information on that. Shaheeds, if you wonder, last couple of things for tonight. Remember when I started? I knew this was, they're coming for them again. When we started, it was Zhytomyr and Vinnytsia. And now, I love being able to draw on this. It's now Khmelnytskyi. So, once again, our home region is under attack. And that will be from drones. And they will be trying to go after Starokonstantinov Airport. They will be trying to go after depots, because there's a lot of stuff stored in Khmelnytskyi Oblast. I'm not telling you any regions or any places. All over that region, there's lots of storages. And they know. Listen, Russia knows and Ukraine knows. They have the intelligence. So that right there is where we're at. Now, back to this. I've been wondering personally how, I'm really loving this. How on earth can a drone leave Crimea, work its way through Kherson, it'll fly through Mykolaiv, Kropyvnytskyi, Cherkasy, it'll turn and come through Vinnytsia, go up to Zhytomyr, turn through Khmelnytskyi, come through Ternopil, and come over to Lviv. And you have about 5 hours. How does it happen? And I keep wondering that. How is Ukraine able to put a drone in the air, send it up to Moscow, let it fly for 5 or 6 hours, and nobody shoots it down? Well, we've got some insight into this tonight. I'm going to share it with you. Ukraine recovered a Shahed, Russian Shahed, and it's Generation 2. You can see behind that box, Geran 2, Generation 2. And I imagine Ukraine is doing this as well, but you see a power bank with the red arrow, and on the left, in the red circle, you see a SIM card, and that is 100% a Kyivstar SIM card, Ukrainian mobile operator. They are communicating with these drones through cellular technology to adjust their courses. This is one of the ways that they are missing air defense, or they're running too low, or running around it, or changing direction so much. I do not understand how that technology works, but I'm here to tell you 100% there are Shaheeds with power banks, SIM cards, and mobile connections on them. I personally believe at the same time that Ukraine may be also using that similar technology. All of this is done with 3D printers. And 3D printers are actively used in the war in Ukraine on both sides. Zhenya and I have been, and I'm erasing this, Zhenya and I have many times been in the nerds' basements. And I say that with all due respect. The guys that are building these components for drones, we've been right in their homes with them, in their basements, in their second floors, and there's printers and computers, and they're designing systems for drones and building them. We pick them up, we deliver them to the front. That's how you do it. All 3D printers. So I don't understand the technology, but this is interesting. And I'm sure we'll learn more about it. We'll learn more about it. Now, last couple of things, and we'll get out of here for tonight. You see a representation there of a hacker, and you see the nation of Ukraine. Typically, we're talking about how Russian propaganda is hacking, and Russian propaganda is infiltrating, whether it's Kyiv, DC, London, wherever. Okay. Well, tonight, the cards got flipped, and Ukrainian hackers hacked Russian state TV. This is so beautiful. So instead of showing Russian state TV, whether it's some program, some movie, and these are all the main channels, Russia 24, Russia 1, all of them. They showed President Zelensky's speech tonight. This is from Russian TV tonight. So you see Perve, that's channel 1. You see Rossiya, Rossiya 24, REN TV, TNT, STS, Pyatnitsa, which is Friday TV, Match, Zvezda, which is news, TV3. All of these are Russian channels. And look who's on them. And this guy's changing the channels. Zelensky. He'll change the channel. There's Zelensky. There's Zelensky. So, you know what? What's good for the goose is good for the gander. A lot of Russian speakers tonight in Crimea and parts of Russia listen to President Zelensky's speech in Ukrainian. Very good. Last thing I'm going to show you tonight is the storms were terrible, but I'm going to give you a prophetic video tonight as we close out. Going to give you guys a prophetic video. I'm going to show you a video clip out of Sevastopol, where a Russian Navy guy was going to walk out and just do an inspection there. It's at the Navy base. And he encountered the wind and the rain and the terrible weather. And it took him out. So maybe this will be prophetic of the wind that's coming from Ukraine and all of us helping. It's going to do the same thing and defeat Russia and put them out of Ukraine. This one's good. This will make you smile. He was inspecting. Sorry, I couldn't help it. I had to share that one. I think that is what's coming for Russia. It's coming because we hold the line, guys. Hey, thank you for being here tonight. Thank you for liking, commenting, sharing. Do all the things that you do. Together, we're a great team. You guys be blessed, and we'll see you Friday night, if not before. And Friday night, I'm going to be talking to an African for a part of it. We have to do a segment where he's going to talk about Russian influence in Africa. Don't take it from me. Take it from him. We'll see you guys. Be blessed. Have a good night.
Slava Ukraini!